The first time here on CWG, we're going inside NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information here in Asheville. Hear from the scientists who overcame the lack of power, the lack of running water, and the lack of roadway access to now, just 1 year later, publish one of the most comprehensive reports about the storm to date.
I'm Jason Cooper. I'm the archivist at the National Centers for Environmental Information here in Asheville, North Carolina.
My name is Jared Rennie. I am a physical scientist here at NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information.
We are the official archives for NOAA. We also host environmental data records.
So right after Helene came through, I actually was in a parking lot in West Asheville, and it is awkward because I'm one of the people that analyzes floods. So I went to my flood team and I said, well, I guess we have something to look at.
Behind us, we're looking at over 36,000 boxes of environmental data records dating from the 1830s up until the late 2010s. So the records that we have both in paper and microfilm and electronic formats form the basis for environmental research across the globe. This room was very dark during Helene, which did not impact the records, thank goodness. The building lost power for a significant period of time. The primary factor, or the primary impact to our records, were the digital repository.
We were first told by all of our supervisors, like, take care of yourself. You know, focus on yourself, focus on your family. The work will be here when you get back. Don't worry about it. But then when we started getting our services back and started looking at the data in our building, yes, we did notice that there were disruptions.
The digital server room requires a certain temperature, and when we lose climate control provided by the electricity, we had to find another way to cool that room.
Because of the fact that there was no power for some time, no water for some time, when you don't have those at a data center, you're certainly going to run into some problems. So there were some people that were considered essential that actually came into the building, including some IT professionals and some supervisors, to kind of get a sense of, okay, what can we do to get all these services back up?
And we had to bring in potable water to be able to circulate through the cooling system.
The third floor of this building is nothing but computers. It's basically an Amazon computer farm down there. And when you don't have the ability to cool down those systems, it gets really warm in there. So, and if it gets too warm, then those computers will fail and we'll lose data.
Humidity and climate control in general is always a concern in archives. We lost the building HVAC, which is what largely controls what we're feeling here in this room, for a number of weeks. And thankfully, we're in a basement, which most folks realize the basement is often the coolest part of the house. But for this room, you want to try to find something in the mid-60s with humidities between 30 and 50%. So not too dry and not too moist. The paper responds worse to changes in humidity.
There was actually a time in which the building worked with the City of Asheville's fire department to ship in water from, I believe it was a lake about 2 miles away, and brought it here so that they could pump water into our building to bring all those systems back up. And I believe it was by the end of October, everything was back up and running.
But we did have the natural conditions down here were relatively stable throughout the event. Our digital archives, a little bit different story. It's located on a higher floor here in the building, and the power that's required to run the servers also contributes a significant amount of heat.
Even though it was back up and running, we still had to sort of backfill a lot of the data that came in. Now we have multiple redundant ways of getting data into this building. And a lot of our code bases have the ability to go back in time and kind of retrieve information so that it can go into the proper ingest systems and it can get properly archived. And I believe to this day, most, if not everything, has been mostly restored. I believe by the end of October, 80% of everything was back up, and then, or the data had backfilled up to 80%, and then I think it slowly filtered in.
The government had several factors that it considered when deciding on a location. The first was a place that was relatively immune from natural disasters. That seems ironic now, but a place where hurricanes largely have spun down, tornadoes and earthquakes and wind damage is relatively uncommon here in the southern